In this video, we're going to look at, it's going to be a very short video, we're going to look at special triangles and how they relate to our 6 trig functions. So we've already talked about the special triangles. We looked at that in a previous section. So these are just kind of a quick reminder of what these are. We have a 45-45 right triangle. The sides opposite 45 can always be reduced down to 1, and by Pythagorean theorem, the hypotenuse can be reduced down to square root of 2. It's easy to remember this one because 45-45, the opposite sides of 45 have to have the same measure. The 30-60 triangle, I always kind of think of as it's as easy as 1, 2, square root of 3. 1 is the smallest, so it goes opposite the 30. Square root of 3 is actually 1.7, so it goes opposite the 60. And then 2 is the biggest, so that's the hypotenuse. So that one's as easy as 1, 2, square root of 3. Okay, so what we'll do here is just do our ratios real quickly. So the sine we learned in previous video, by definition, is opposite over hypotenuse. So if we look at a 45-degree angle, the opposite would be 1, the hypotenuse would be square root of 2. So we just write this as 1 over the square root of 2. And then I'll rationalize the denominator just by multiplying by square root of 2 over square root of 2. So that will give you square root of 2 over 2 as the sine of 45. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is the cosine of 45. So the cosine's definition is adjacent over hypotenuse. So again, if we look at this same 45-degree angle, the side adjacent is 1. Hypotenuse is square root of 2. So we end up getting exactly the same answer because they're the same angle. 45, because they're complementary angles, they add up to 90 degrees. So this one, after you rationalize the denominator, would also be square root of 2 over 2. Okay, next one we have is pi over 4. So I decided I'd put some of these in radians. And pi over 4, remember, pi is 180 degrees, so if you do 180 over 4, you get 45 degrees. So again, we'll look at the 45-degree angle. The tangent is opposite over adjacent. Opposite would be 1. Adjacent would be 1. So that's 1 over 1, so we would get an answer of 1 on that. Okay, the secant of 45 is the reciprocal of the cosine. So it's hypotenuse over adjacent. So that would just be square root of 2 over 1. So that would end up being the square root of 2. And all these are 45-degree angles. Okay, so the cotangent of pi over 4 would be the reciprocal of the tangent. Okay, so that would be 1 over 1. So that would still be equal to 1, like that. And then the cosecant is the reciprocal of the sine. And pi over 4 is 45 degrees. So this one is hypotenuse over opposite. Go back to your sine. Again, if you want to look at this, hypotenuse is square root of 2. Opposite's 1. So that would give square root of 2 over 1. So that's equal to square root of 2. Okay, so you can deal with special triangles and get these ratios. These ratios are going to show up in what we call the unit circle. Okay, so I'm going to have you all do one thing, and this will be all we're going to do in this video. I want you to just take the 30-60 triangle up here, and I would like you to fill out these. Make sure you rationalize your denominator. So pause the video, and when you're done, you can resume and see how many of these you got right. Okay, so I'm just resuming it. You can check your answers real quick if you like and see if you came out okay on this. And again, I've got the definitions. There's a couple of them that I rationalized. A couple of things that are worth noting is, and we've seen this before, is if you do the sine of 30 and if you do the cosine of 60, they turn out to be the same because 30 and 60 are complementary angles. So that popped up one time, I think, in here. And it also popped up here, actually. The sine of 60 and cosine of 30 are the same. Okay? And you'll see some of these relationships pop up from time to time as you get to know this stuff better. So hope everybody did well on that. That will wrap up this very short video. And the first two parts of this are just getting you comfortable with your right triangle definitions of the 6 trigonometric functions. Okay, hope you do well with this.